and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about the value of being authentic. Hey, Janine.
Hey, Shannon, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm well, too.
That's excellent.
Yes. I have to say, I was about to say it's starting to feel like fall here in St. Louis. I turned the heat on, I think it was on Sunday, which was kind of exciting. And then now it's like 85.
Oh.
I think the heat might still be on, but, well, probably Barry shifted it to the air conditioning. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a big debate at my house this morning about whether or not we should turn the heat on because it was 65 degrees in the house and it was quite chilly. I just put on a fleece and called it good.
Who was rooting for turning on the heat?
Mike.
Oh, okay.
And then I pointed out that he was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops.
Well, it was also 65 in my house when I turned on the heat, and Barry wasn't home, so I was just like, "Yep, I'm on my own. I'm turning it on," and because it would have been a big debate at my house too, and I probably would have lost. It would have been the same conversation. Put on your bathrobe or something.
Right. Well, the main reason that I'm reluctant to do it is that with our third floor, the heat really rises and stays there. And I would feel really bad sort of cooking our kid up there during the day by turning on the heat in the morning.
Well, I hope he listens to this podcast and appreciates that consideration.
I doubt that. I mean, he probably appreciates it, but I doubt that he'll listen.
Yeah, okay. Shout out to Elliot if he's listening.
Yeah. But, speaking of being authentic, that's what we're talking about today.
Yep.
We're thinking about this in the context of perfectionism because I think you brought this up before we started recording that if perfectionism is something you struggle with, it may come up in terms of showing up authentically, really sort of being your true self in public with others.
I would imagine that many folks who are perfectionists would want to have an image of doing things perfectly, or at least very well, and not making a lot of mistakes and so forth. They don't want to be hot messes, I'm guessing. Most people don't want to appear to be a hot mess, I suppose.
Right.
But I could see how it would be a little more challenging for folks who have perfectionistic tendencies to have like a take me as I am, warts and all approach to life.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I know it's definitely something I've bumped up against a fair bit, mostly in the context of work, of not wanting to, I guess, share my warts. Like, I feel this pressure that as a life coach, I should be together and I shouldn't have any problems.
Right, because if you have problems, how can you possibly help anybody else with their problems? If you can't even handle your own problems.
I'm so glad you get it, Janine.
Because it's not at all reasonable to expect that you could possibly have any problems. But no, I totally
Right.
get how you could feel that way, even though it's kind of ludicrous when I, sarcastically put it that way.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
share that? Do you share your struggles, or let's say you have a client who's got talking about something that you can personally relate to? Do you share that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question. I share it directly with clients, and I share it in the emails that I send out to my email list. And, I share stuff on social media. And, of course, we talk about it a lot on the podcast.
Well, there's that, yes.
I mean, coming out as a perfectionist, a recovering perfectionist, and then sharing every week all the ways in which I struggle with it is, about as authentic as it can get.
Right, that's true. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And the thing that's really interesting is that it seems like people are more receptive to what I have to say when they know that I struggle with stuff too, and that I'm not perfect. When you think about it, like, do you want help from someone who has no idea what you're going through, or do you want to work with someone who has a clue what it's like to struggle?
Exactly. And really, who wants to spend their time with someone who's perfect? I mean, there is no one who's perfect, I suppose. But
Right.
yeah, that's being approachable and human, I think, is a really important part of your work and of mine as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I always, when you first brought up this topic, I thought of how you sort of came out of the closet as a messy person, and an organizer, a professional organizer.
Right. Yeah. I remember starting out, I was so concerned that anybody who really knew me would scoff at the notion of my being an organizer. It's not that I have hoarding tendencies or anything like that, but I don't mind a little bit of clutter, and things are better than they used to be, I think. But when my childhood friends were really the ones who were the only ones who actually ever said anything. But like a friend of mine who I used to ask her to help me clean my room, and when I was a kid, and I'd say, "You can keep any money you find." That was her payment. And she was when I told her what I was doing, whatever, 40 years later or 35 years later, she says, what are you going to pay me to not tell people what your bedroom was like when you were a kid? But in fact, I decided that I didn't want clients to expect a perfectly organized type A type person to show up at their house. It took me maybe, a year into it before I realized that, well, actually, maybe not. I think, yeah, that's about right, because I started my blog in 2006, and I started my business in 2005, and that's specifically why I started my blog, so that I can just give the warts and all picture of who I am, so that they're not. Back then, I was worried they'd be disappointed if they didn't know in advance. And now I that sounds kind of funny, because I don't think people want. Well, maybe some people want type A, perfectly organized organizer, and that's great. They just don't want to call me.
Right.
So, yeah.
But,
so it worked out.
there's an organizer for everyone. And I think that you being open about your feelings about being messy, or, a little bit of clutter, or, what organized is, organized enough for you, and probably puts a lot of people at ease.
I think it does, yeah. And if they know, if they know I can walk in their shoes, or they know that I've personally solved a lot of these issues that they're going through. That's the other thing. By now, 15 years into my business, I've had the opportunity to try so many things on my own self that with a lot of success. So things are quite organized around here and not particularly messy. So I can share those solutions that have worked for me, although they won't necessarily work for my client. But I can authentically share that. Oh yeah, I've done that, and this is what I did. And then of course I proudly share that I'm naturally good at good enough, because it's part of my whole crusade to help people let go of perfectionism. So thanks to this podcast, I don't have to feel any kind of negativity toward that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a good enough person.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really freeing to, we've said this a number of times about the podcast specifically, that like, if you want to have an easy time doing a podcast, do a podcast about not being perfect. Right. And then, it's all built in. It's baked into, the imperfection is baked in.
I love that.
But also, it makes it so much easier to just share, because we know from the feedback we've got from people who listen to the podcast that it makes a difference.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And the other thing about authenticity is that when you're just being yourself, it's much less stressful.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Exactly.
Really?
Like, yeah. Having my life anyway, at this stage of my life, is all about reducing stress, right? And that's why I like to simplify, do everything I can to just reduce stress. And absolutely trying to live up to something I'm not sounds horribly stressful. It's been a very long time, I think, since I've tried that. And I remember writing a blog post years ago. It's probably 10 or more years ago, that was like a case against fake it till you make it, because it makes me just cringe every time I hear that phrase, which you hear every now and then. Yep. And I tell that to new organizers all the time who seek my counsel. It's like, I don't advise that, because that's stressful.
It is, and it takes so much energy to try to create this persona of someone who you aren't, and maintain that. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and how about the self-recrimination behind not living up to a persona that you created?
Right. Oh my goodness. That's a double-double.
That's right. Yeah, that's not so
and not
good. Like
a good double-double. That's like a double whammy.
Right. What's a good double-double? Like ice skating? You haven't spent a lot of time in California at In-N-Out Burger. Oh, I've never been to In-N-Out Burger.
They have the double-double.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. What is she referring to? Okay. Next time I go to California, I'm going to have to go to In-N-Out Burger, because I've never been. I rarely go to California, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Double.
So it's a double whammy. That's what it is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that I've noticed is, like you said, that people, your clients, and I'm sure others around you, appreciate that you have your own problems and are just like them in that way. And the thing that I've noticed is that saying what you think without, I don't want to say sugarcoating it, because I feel like I do a good job of saying what I think in a nice way, but saying what you think, even if you don't think the other person wants to hear it, is so much less scary in real life than it sounds. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I used to have the beginning of my business, I had a very hard time like enforcing my policies or answering questions from prospective clients with the true answers.
Right.
Instead, I'd like massage my policies to meet what I think they would want to hear. And when I stopped doing that, when I just, do you do this? No. And then we go from there. And life got so much easier.
That's such a good point. It's like you can twist yourself up in knots trying to guess what people might want to know or might be asking, or what they might want from you. And I think in business, if you have a business, it is really easy to get caught up in trying to please people when you don't even know why they're asking.
Right. Exactly. You go through this guessing game that can be a real losing proposition. So I felt like maybe 5 years into my business when I really started embracing not worrying about how my answer was going to land with somebody, beyond wanting to phrase things. I never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but so I'm careful about my phraseology, but I don't bend the content. That was hugely helpful to me. It was just a big moment. I don't think I had a single moment, but I eased into it. But that's to me part of being authentic.
Absolutely, and being authentic to yourself.
Right.
I think we talk a lot about being authentic out in the world, but being authentic with yourself is just as important, if not more important. And recognizing there are things that you don't want to do, or that just don't work in your situation, and being able to say no to those things in a neutral way is really powerful.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it is another facet of trying to reduce stress in your life. It's another way to reduce stress, at least in my life.
Yeah. And one of the little tricks I have with that is, I think this might be because I'm reluctant to ask for things, but I often think that it's hard for the person who asked to ask, and so I get myself sort of twisted up in thinking like, I should be able to do whatever they want or whatever, what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if I just assume that they're a person who thinks doesn't hurt to ask, that makes it easier for me to respond authentically.
So you, instead of worrying about that they think that it was that whatever they screwed up all their courage to ask you this question, and if you give them an answer that doesn't meet their expectations, you're going to devastate them. You instead decide, they probably are just thinking, might as well ask, and they'll be cool with whatever the response is, or they'll get past whatever disappointment they might have. Yeah, I like that, and it's probably true, right? I mean, I think it's true of me. I don't think I have to screw up my courage to ask somebody. I mean, I don't like to ask people. I don't ask people to make exceptions to their policies, but I have no trouble asking them if they do something that I want them to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. Yeah. So it's that mind shift in making the decision that, because that's really what it is, because you're mind reading either way.
Right.
Unless the person says up front, hey, it doesn't hurt to ask, do you blah, 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 or hey, I can't believe I'm asking this. This is making me all sweaty and nervous.
But I have to ask.
Most people don't do.
Right.
But I have to ask.
Yeah.
But if you just make the decision to believe that people are asking you a question under the belief it doesn't hurt to ask.
Mm-hmm. That's a good trick.
Yeah. And so much is so many things are like that just making the decision to believe in whatever supports you and what you want to be doing. Like if with your business, if you eventually chose to believe that being authentic with, how you are in your life with your stuff will help you versus hurt you, then that changes how it is to be that way.
Right. Yeah, and I was just thinking about how that part of that shift involved thinking, I don't want to work with a person who doesn't want to work with me. And the only way they know they don't want to work with me is if they know who I am. Or all flip side, that they do want to work with me is if they know who I am.
Right.
And so not caring about how I'm perceived necessarily, as long as I'm being authentic. It's on them. If I'm being authentic, how I'm perceived is their problem. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And as you're saying that, it made me flash back to when I was dating and just totally 100% being myself when I met people the first time. Because it's sort of like, if you don't like me how I am, it's not going to work.
Because that's how you are, right? Eventually how you are will come out. Right. And that took off. I mean, I'm remembering when you started dating in this round of life, and it seemed like you were relatively chill about it. Like you had this great attitude going in. Like, I'm going to have a good time, and here's who I am.
Well, yeah. My goal, my dating goal was to get a good story.
I think you succeeded, right?
I got a few good stories.
You did. And you got an amazing husband. So,
I know, which I wasn't even, seeking.
Right.
And that's what I ended up with, which was awesome.
Yeah. I feel like you should win some sort of prize for that.
I know.
Or maybe
I won the
teach
lottery of husbands.
That's right. Maybe you need to teach some e-course or something on that.
Yeah. But it's funny because the idea of, and I think so many people do that going into dating or, in different situations where you think you have to be a particular kind of person to be accepted for, in whatever situation. And that's a lot of stress to maintain. It's not really fair to the other person, and it's not fair to you.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are all for authenticity, and we would like to hear from you. Where do you struggle being authentic? What has changed in your life because you decided to be authentic? You can let us know in the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com. On social media, Twitter is at GTGEnough, and Facebook and Instagram are at gettingtogoodenough. Or you can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I think we've always been our true selves with each other.
Yes, from day one.